Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is set to visit Qatar to discuss a host of issues, from bilateral matters to regional security. This comes at a time when the region is witnessing much saber rattling. So what is the future of the Middle East? We talked to Qatar's Foreign Minister, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani. I'm Hasan Abdullah, and this is One on One. Minister, thank you for talking to TRT World. President Erdogan is on his way to Qatar. The context, of course, is the regional crises that are undergoing. Turkey has provided military support to Qatar. It's also supported Qatar in the international arena when it comes to, of course, politics. What is your take on Turkey's position?
The Turkish position and its political support for Qatar doesn't mean that Turkey's relations with Qatar are different than its relations with other Gulf countries. The Turkish side evaluated the whole situation and concluded the measures taken against Qatar are unjust and unfair. The Turkish stance regarding the crisis is highly appreciated by the Qatari people and the Qatari government, and we will never forget it.
It's been nearly 6 months since the Gulf crisis and the siege of Qatar. What's your evaluation of the situation at the moment?
The Qatari crisis hasn't moved forward. The blockading countries are still obstinate and refuse dialogue. They keep on with their previous behavior and haven't stopped the escalation against Qatar. The absence of wisdom in the crisis is the main reason for the regional developments in general. Unfortunately, countries behind the blockade continued issuing accusations and lies. They violated all international and diplomatic norms. On the other side, Qatar maintained stable behavior in dealing with these accusations and refuting these lies, and in confronting the demonizing campaigns by the blockading countries in the West particularly.
The Emir of Kuwait has warned about a possible escalation in the situation. What concerns do you have, particularly if the countries around you are to impose further sanctions on Qatar?
Qatar is ready on all sides to confront anyone who tries to harm its stability and security. But there is a general sense in the region that the tone is now one of tension and escalation. We need a voice of wisdom, a voice that will stop these tensions and this political absurdity. The continuous behavior of creating crisis without an exit strategy should be stopped.
Since the beginning of the crisis with Saudi Arabia, have you officially contacted Saudi officials and discussed this crisis?
There was a phone call between the Emir of Qatar and the Saudi Crown Prince under US mediation, and it was considered a positive step towards solving the crisis. But we were surprised after issuing a statement about it that Saudi Arabia withdrew their support and they suspend any attempt to solve the crisis. They accused the Qatari statement of not being factual, despite everything in the statement was mentioned in that phone call. Qatar was keen to mention all the facts, and the Qatari statement was issued after coordinating with American side.
We've been witnessing much saber rattling against Iran, and it seems that there's going to be further escalation in the crisis between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Where does Qatar stand on this?
The escalating tensions between Iran and Saudi Arabia are creating a new crisis that will harm the region in the short and long term. Our position in Qatar hasn't changed, either before or after the crisis. The crisis between Gulf countries and Iran should be solved with dialogue in accordance with principles of respecting the national sovereignty of states and non-intervening other countries' affairs. We are neighboring countries with Iran. We have common interests with Iran. Is it wise to continue with this escalating rhetoric and continue the confrontation? Yes, there are concerns and worries that they should be discussed at the negotiating table, not through the media.
The spotlight appears to be on Lebanon now with the resignation of Prime Minister Hariri. What is your assessment of the situation?
When President Michel Aoun and Prime Minister Hariri were elected, there was hope of restoring stability to Lebanon. We consider Lebanon to be very sensitive and shouldn't get caught up in any conflict between countries. Stability should be restored as soon as possible. It's not wise to create a new crisis while other crises are not yet solved.
Minister, thank you very much indeed for talking to TRT World.